Hello there, and welcome to the last of our episodes on A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, here at We Read It One Night. In today's episode, Feyre and Rhys finally bang it out, secrets are revealed, random plot twists are disclosed, and we still have no idea what Moore's power is. If you like this episode, don't forget to leave us a rating and review to let us know. And if you'd like to support the podcast further, check out our Etsy shop or buy us a coffee using the links in the description. Now hold on as tight as an Illyrian male does to his ego and enjoy the show.
I was just telling Callie the plot of this book. And she was like, she asked me what like mates were. Like that's like a new concept. Yeah. And I was like,
soulmates?
No,
What?
but it's not just soulmates. Like mates in like the fantasy context. Like that's a specific thing. And I was like trying to like explain it. And I feel like I don't know. It was like surprisingly hard to explain like to someone who just had like no context. But then I just opened TikTok a few minutes ago and a video by like that Twilight. I don't think her username is Twilight Talk anymore, but
No.
Twilight Talk. I forget what her name is, but she was talking about imprinting, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. It's like everyone knows about Twilight and the imprinting. So I was like, it's like imprinting in Twilight, but less creepy because usually not with children, and like usually it's mutual. So, like,
honestly, that's really funny that she knows about like imprinting, but not mates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like everyone's read Twilight, but like, or
well, yeah, but like
everyone
it's not
who's
like
a woman
Sarah
who's our age like has some concept.
Sure, but it's like it's not like Sarah J. Maas invented mates.
I know, but that it's in like a specific like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't realize that it was like
I guess that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to remember like when I first like encountered that. I don't know.
It feels like something I just like always knew. It feels like it was never something that needed to be explained to me. Yeah. I was just like, oh, it's fantasy super love. Cool.
Yeah. Fantasy
like,
super love. Yeah. It's like you're stuck with, well, but like when I was trying to describe it, I was like, it's like, you're just like stuck with this person, like whether you want to be or not. She was like, that just sounds like a high potential for abuse. And I was like, you're not wrong, especially in the fairy world. So I was like, yes.
Well, the fairy world, it's just marriage that's a high potential for abuse.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah. But even like the mates, then it's like even more like, like I feel like they're all like, yeah, you don't even have like any choice if you like get married to this person or not.
Yeah. I listened to, I don't know if you saw on our Instagram, but Sarah McLean's podcast, they like did Twilight for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first time like she had read Twilight.
What?
She did it. Her co-host had read it because her co-host is a middle school teacher. So she was like, I was reading it with my students. And then they did it with Christina Lauren, who like started in Twilight fanfic and were like big enough in Twilight fanfic that they got to go like to the premieres.
Wow.
But none of these people, Sarah was like, oh, I love Alice. Alice is my favorite character. I want to know more about Alice's backstory.
Yeah.
And apparently none of these people had ever heard of the Twilight short films.
That's wild.
Because I went on Instagram and I was like, am I going to be the one to introduce Sarah to the Twilight short films? And she was like, you are.
Wow.
I was like, how do these three people not know?
Yeah.
About the masterpieces that are the Twilight short films.
Yeah, and they're like official. They're not just like
Stephanie produced them.
Stephanie Meyer was like very involved. Yeah. Which I'm not sure what producing means still. Does that just mean like the money?
It's the money. I mean, executive producer is just money. And then producer, like technically you're supposed to, you get like final say on like the creative, final say of the movie, like any big creative decisions, like you approve.
Yeah, because you're running the money.
Yeah, basically.
So.
Have you heard of how like 2 years ago during The Bachelor, they were like, are you like 55 or older and looking for love? Like they were advertising for seniors.
Yeah, and they never did it.
So no, I'm saying it's come to fruition. There's a new show called The Golden Bachelor.
Wait.
And the man is very handsome. He is a widower
Of course he is.
And
good. As
I don't know how old he is. Wait, how old is he? I think he's like he's like fully retired. But wait, he's 71.
Wow.
71.
When did they film that? Like,
I don't know, but it's coming out this fall.
Wow, he is really handsome. 71.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, he's definitely gotten
crazy.
like Botox, but he's also definitely taken care of himself.
No, that's crazy.
They haven't released any of the women.
Turner, of course.
But I do at least appreciate that at least on the casting announcements, the age limit was like minimum 55. Mm-hmm. So there's not going to be any like 40-year-old, like, especially because the People magazine article where I got his age said that his granddaughters were in their 40s. So like, I just feel like
no, his granddaughters are 21 and 16. You mean his daughters probably?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. But like, that would be bold if he had granddaughters in his 30s. That would be like 2 generations having kids at 15. Yeah.
Yeah. We have like a 15 to 16 year age gap max.
No, I have 2 granddaughters. One is 21 and one is 16. And they're very adept at finding comments and things online. And so they've been firing me stuff nonstop about things that are being said. And it's hilarious, but they are loving it. If there's one thing I know to be true, it's that I'm not even going to say old people, but like adults who like were not like non-internet adept adults love nothing more than being sent things about themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
On the internet.
Oh, it's incredible. Remember when we read Mom Has Raped My Professor?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. So while I was editing, welcome listener to ACA Math Part 3, the last part. While I was editing the first part, we had a discussion. We were like, you were like, why are there human lands at all? Like in the Prithian Island?
Yeah.
Like why? I figured out it's because the wall extends into the continent. So I was always picturing the continent as being south, but the continent is actually like east. Yeah. It's like basically like the 49th parallel kind of like, so it just extends across. So it's just the wall in the continent cutting off that tiny little like human thing of Prithian.
So they just like, so it's kind of like why there's that little sliver of like fucking like Minnesota or something that's like in Canada, like disconnected. It's because they like wouldn't bend on like moving the line. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Is there a wall in the ocean? I guess the wall is magic. So I guess it could be.
Yeah. I don't know. But there are also fairy lands in the continent, which I thought I didn't realize there were fairies there. I thought the fairies were just in Prithian.
Oh, well, we knew about Hybern, right? Like,
yeah, but he has his own little island. Not on the continent.
Okay. What island is he? Is he like the island? Like, because we figured out they mapped to like, you texted me that like, got like the night court is fucking like,
is Scotland.
Oh, he's just Ireland. No, but you said it's the Isle of Wight or something. What did you say? The Isle of, you said it was the Isle of
Skye is the night court.
Oh, yeah.
Because, listener, I'm going to Scotland. Actually, when you're listening to this, I'll be back from Scotland for 2 days, but I'm going to Scotland and I was looking at the Isle of Skye and I was writing down like hiking instructions for hikes I want to do because like you don't have any service on the Isle of Skye. So I wanted to make sure like I had everything like downloaded on my phone. And this hike on the Isle of Skye was like, you'll walk past the prison, which is like which is a mountain rock structure, like that they're like at certain angles, it looks like an ancient prison. And I was like, Sarah.
Well, I don't know what makes something look like a prison versus like a fortress or like a castle. I know. No, she really did. So
I'll let you know
how it maps. And like, that's exactly. Yeah.
It makes sense that the Isle of Skye would be. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I was so like, funny. Sarah, come on. You didn't even file off the serial numbers.
Oh, yeah. But speaking of like, remember how I was like, I don't understand why the fairies would like take into account the humans at all, given like the difference in lifespan. Yeah. But like the difference in lifespan, I guess because the fairies live to like 1,000, right? Like they do die eventually.
I mean, we don't know how long.
Okay. Well, let's say they live to like 1,000. And humans, like I know the humans in this world probably like life expectancy is shorter, but like 100. Like let's say like roughly like the fairies live 10 times as long. Like that's more akin to like if cats and dogs could express their wishes. And like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would be like, fuck the cats and dogs. Like, we don't care. We don't have time. But like, I personally, I think would like, if the cats and dogs, if they were like sentient and were able, or sapient and like, you know, had the same intelligence.
Oh, is that what you figure? Did you figure it out that it's sapient?
I know.
We were trying to figure out what the word is for like when you have
no,
awareness and also like are able.
No, I knew. Yeah, I think I forgot it. Yeah, no, it's sapient. Yeah, I just always say sentient, but like that's what I mean. Yeah, so I guess it's not really like a fucking. Well, first I thought you used a lobster example, but then lobsters boldly live to like actually over 100 years if they're in cold water.
You used in the ACOTAR episodes. You compare them to cicadas.
Okay, yeah. So like it's not quite that. They live longer than that.
Cicadas live like a month. Don't they like come out, breed, and then like die immediately?
Yeah, but their eggs for like 17 years. Yeah. But like, yeah. So I don't know. It depends like what numbers you use, but like the cats and dogs thing, I think they're roughly equivalent in lifespan. Yeah. So
that checks out.
Yeah. Anyway. It's not that crazy, I guess. I'm just surprised that there's not more fairies that just like, I mean, there probably are, we just don't hear about them, but like that just don't give a fuck about the humans one way or another. You know, like I can imagine like being like, yeah, sure, we shouldn't bother to like enslave them, but like we have enough problems as is. Like we boldly have like huge class issues in our own like fairy lands. Like why are we worried about these fucking humans? Like whatever, they can do what they like.
I don't.
We don't have this like a high fairy thing to go on to contend with on our own.
I feel like it's probably just the vast majority of people.
What are they? There's high fae and fairies and like, lesser fairies. Yeah.
Lesser fairies. A little fairy racism going on. All right, shall we begin?
Yes, ma'am.
So where were we, Rachel?
Well, Allison, they just gotten the blood rubies and they're on their way to meet the human queens again.
Yes.
To convince them, to help them save Prithian. Although really unclear what the human queens can even fucking do because they're human. But apparently
Rhys and Feyre are wearing matching crowns. I just want to make that clear.
Of course they are. And
like, the queens are like, is that a custom? And Rhys is like, no reason. No reason at all.
Of course, my emissary to the human realm gets them matching. It's
just for fun.
We just like matching, okay? Listen. And then so they arrive to meet them again, and the human queens can apparently winnow. And this is like noted, like Feyre's like, oh, I have no idea how they can winnow, but like whatever, I'm not gonna ask.
Wait, I think this is the first time. This is the first time they see the queens. This isn't the second. The second time is when they bring them the orb.
Yeah, they're bringing them the orb now.
No.
Yeah, they've already been to the sister's house, I thought. Oh, no, you're right. Okay, fine. Huh.
They went to the sister's house to ask if it was chill for the queens to come.
Yeah.
And now they're back. Okay.
And the queens are like very hostile.
It's really like the dramatic. They're like, oh, we have to meet at exactly 11 a.m. And Feyre is like, oh, it's not just security. It's so that they can make a dramatic entrance. Yeah. Because like the queens know what can
room
winnow.
In the house. Yeah, like know what room in the house they're going to be in. And they don't question this. They're not like, I wonder how they got this power. Like which does turn out to be very relevant. Like,
do we think it's from Hybern? That's what I was wondering. Does it ever get confirmed that it's from Hybern?
Yeah, I have no idea. I guess not. Like, I guess we just assume, but I just feel like even from their perspective ahead of time, they should have been like, who's giving them this power? Especially Rhys. Like, I could see Feyre being like, okay, maybe I just don't know, like what. Maybe just like being a human queen, like they got this gift.
Yeah.
Long ago or
the
whatever.
Human queen system doesn't make sense to me at all. Like the fact that they all live in the same city, like what the fuck is the point of having so many?
Maybe they're like a council, I guess. Like maybe it's like a bunch of families. Yeah, I have no fucking idea. I don't know.
Like how does that work?
None of it makes any sense. I don't question it.
At least it's matriarchal. That's fun.
We think so. Like who's to say?
Why would it be all like how that's so there's like 7 of them or like whatever, like how would there be so like all women? I just feel like there's no way that happens.
Oh no, I'm just saying like it might not be hereditary at all, or it might be like passed down in a weird way. I don't know, who's to say.
Well, no, because at one point someone is like they don't.
Oh yeah, Morgan's like they're like
your ancestors.
See if they look like my friends or whatever.
Yeah, your ancestors.
And then they know her. They were like, "You're the Morgan from the war," and Morgan's like, "My gift is truth." Like,
what does it mean?
I don't know. I don't know what
the queens know. It's well known enough that like it's passed down in the legends. What did Moore do during the war?
I have no idea, but she's the one they call out once everyone else has failed and so all the generals and armies are dead. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm guessing it's something like where she tells she like can tell the truth, but like she can also trick you. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe she's like the fairies can't lie thing.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. I don't know.
So anyway, basically the verdict is that they're going to go to the Court of Nightmares and get the Orb of Truth so that they can, like, unclear why they need the Orb of Truth when they have more, but like, whatever. And Cassian's like, we could just depose the queens. And Rhys is like, nah, it's like more trouble than it's worth. We'll just like, go get the fucking orb.
The magic 8-ball, like the fairy magic 8-ball. Like, well,
it's like it's like a crystal ball that like, that's like a movie projector. Like,
okay, I just want to point out that this is like the reason they don't trust. Well, the reason they don't trust him is deeper than this, but the reason they give for not trusting Rhys is being like, you have a reputation for being evil, so like they have to show them Valaris to prove that he's not evil. And I'm just like, okay, again, I'm not really seeing any benefit to like making everyone think you're evil. Like, it really seems to be backfiring against you at every turn.
Also, like, I also just don't understand why it doesn't make any sense why they trust the King of Hybern, who like literally was trying to enslave the humans. Like, at least Rhys was on the human side.
He promised them immortality. It's because they're like,
I know. But I wonder how they explain, like, how does Rhys explain, like, Rhys was on the human side. I guess that could just be like the way alliances are. I think it'd still be like quote unquote evil. Yeah. And then Court boldly didn't have human slaves because they couldn't like keep the secret.
Yeah. Anyway. But it was literally just because of Valaris. It wasn't because they were like morally opposed. No. They're just like, you're not useful to me.
Like back in the day. Yeah. You're too much of a liability.
But Rhys also has to like, they're when they're accusing him of being evil, they're like, fairies fucking suck. Like they enslaved us, blah, 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 blah. And Rhys is like, neither side is innocent. And I'm like, what did the humans do? What did the humans do exactly? Like,
well, the humans did shit like killing Amarantha's sister. Like that was pretty shitty. Like Jurian or whatever.
I mean, torturing, but like,
well, Amarantha's sister didn't seem to be like a problem per se.
I mean, I just feel like that's like one guy. I feel like that's not enough to be like neither side is innocent.
No, but I'm like saying that's an example. Yeah, no, I
just feel like anything done in the fight to end being enslaved is justified. Like I'm willing to excuse anything that the humans did.
Boldly not necessary at all. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
you know what was boldly not necessary? Slavery. Rachel rolls her eyes.
Like no one's gonna argue with you, but that's not really like relevant.
You're like, I mean, I guess.
No, that's not what we're okay.
Okay, anyway, they're gonna go to the
so they're going to the Court of Nightmares.
And we get Mora's backstory.
Yeah.
I think Mora comes in and she's like, this is why I don't like the Court of Nightmares.
Yeah, don't they? You're skipping over. They get shot at with ash arrows, like on the way to the Hewn City.
On the way to the Court of Nightmares, but Mora tells her before this.
Oh, okay.
Before. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not.
So yeah, Mora. So this is where it comes in that like fairies, despite like living way longer than humans, like apparently they still like marry off their like daughters at the same.
When they get your period,
she was like
when
she was like
18. Period. But she's like, when I started bleeding is when they started marrying. Like,
well, she was like 18 or something, so maybe it's a little bit later. But like, still, it's like Mora's like super powerful, so everyone wants to marry her. They were gonna marry her off to the fucking like Autumn Court guy, Lucian's brother, who's like also who has a reputation for like sucking, like for being a sadist, basically. And she was like, I don't want to marry him. So then she like hung out. They let her like visit like with Rhys the war camp, and she like slept with Cassian in order to like, you know, make them not want to marry her off anymore. And then her family like basically just like fucked her up and like stapled her to the ground.
Yep. I'm just imagining a giant staple like
yeah.
No, they put a nail through her stomach. Yeah. And basically like Eris sees her at the Autumn Court border and is like, don't touch her, and like leaves her there. And then Azriel finds her.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that I'm ready for the Eris redemption arc, because
I know
books indicate that he's like a lot more like Rhys than we think.
Yeah, right. Like I hope it's not just like a loose thread.
No, I feel like he's got it. He absolutely is getting a redemption arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Feyre gets upset on Mora's behalf, and she's like, "Oh, like me being this upset, like I get why like Rhys can't forgive Nesta," and I'm like, I don't. How does that relate to Mora at all? Also, he forgives Elaine. Like, what?
Yeah, no, I know.
What do you mean?
I was just taught. Yeah, I know. They all. Yeah, no, they all. I guess like just family, like they need to each other. Moore like gets her dressed to go to the Hewn City with magic, which again brings me back to the question of like, why do they have servant like Newell and Caradwyn? I guess it could just be like because it's an illusion, but like what determines when she wants to be actually dressed versus when she just wants it to be a magic illusion? Like I have no idea.
I don't know. Maybe she was like carrying it in her pocket and just like magicked it out and like flicked it on Feyre. I don't know.
Yeah, so they're going to the Hewn City and they get fucking shot at. And that's like never explained. Like they never like look into that further as far as we know.
Oh, but they go searching for it.
Yeah, well, do they? Not like right away.
They land. No,
they're just like, oh, ho, ho, what a silly little arrow. The weather's being so funny today.
No. Cloudy with a chance of ash arrows.
Right.
No, they do immediately. They land and then like Azriel, like they all go out to like search for it a bit. Like they split into two and like go and like try to search for like what's happened, like the people that shot at them, but they don't find them before they go to the Court of Nightmares.
Okay. And there's like, they were like, Vera's like, I forget how this comes up, but she's like, yeah, of course, like they'd be so fucking pissed. Like Illyrian males like try to protect their wings at all costs. Like they'd rather be dead than like not have their wings. And it's just like it's just so bold to like clip the fucking women's wings. I don't know.
Okay, so they're going to the Court of Nightmares.
At the Hewn City, yeah.
And the Hewn City uniform is slut. And the personality is slut squared.
No, you know what it is? The uniform is like sexy Jasmine in Aladdin. Like
slut.
Like sex slave Jasmine.
Rachel, I need you to know that my first self-induced feelings of like arousal were from Aladdin Jasmine. We're from like I had whole BDSM storylines for Jafar and Jasmine.
Like, they made it up for you. Yeah.
I know, but I mean I went further.
Toenails. Yeah. I know.
You're cutting your toenails?
No, I just said I need to cut my toenails. So basically like Moore's family is still in charge and like her dad sucks and Rhys like deals with him, you know, but like it's still, you know, ready to
Rhys is like his super scary. Rhys originally didn't want Feyre to come because he's like, I don't want you to like start hating me again. And he's like like Feyre's like, I can like discern between fact and fiction. Like I understand.
And so they basically like put on this whole show.
Oh my god.
Like Rhys sitting on the throne and Feyre's on his lap.
But even before that, like his entrance is more produced than a Beyonce concert. like Feyre and Moore are standing up near the thrones in their sexy dresses, and then you hear like boom, boom, like footsteps, and like everybody's kneeling, and like Rhys like walks in with Cassian like and Azriel behind him. And I can just picture this on like the end of the movie or TV show. Boom, boom, boom. I just like it's so like, how long do you think they practice that? Is what I'm saying. It's got to be choreographed.
They have it done. It's impressive of Feyre to like nail it so quickly.
Yeah,
you know.
And then Feyre's looking around and she's like, oh, like everyone's afraid of Rhys, but like they're also afraid of like Cassian and Moore and Azriel. And she's like, and they're afraid of me, or like they should be afraid of me. And I'm like, why? Girl, they don't even know who you are. What do you mean?
Because she's like part of the Night Court, I guess, and like also
I know, but,
has the power.
So they're all part of the Night Court, and they're the Night Court assholes.
Oh, that's a great point. Well, part of the Night Court, the actual, yeah, I guess they're the court.
I'm just like,
but like the actual. What? But do they know about the good court? Like, who's to say?
I think they do know about Valaris. They know about Valaris. We established that.
Yeah.
I was wrong in the first part when I said that.
Right. Because like Rhys had to like hold all their minds while he was like with Amarantha. So like they put on this whole show. Like Feyre's really wet. He's like, don't worry about it. And then like Morris,
it's actually really cute because she feels really guilty. And he's like, it's just your body reacting. It means nothing. And I was like,
sure.
Rhys.
And I don't know why they don't like keep the bond open at all times in situations like this. Like why, just so that they can communicate, you know. But yeah, I don't know. She's like,
but they're the distraction while Azriel goes and steals the magic 8-ball.
Yeah, so Azriel steals the magic 8-ball, and then Moore's dad is just like slut, and Rhys is like, "What the fuck did you say?" And like breaks his arms, and he's like, "You're not allowed to see a doctor." Does like that move,
and explodes into darkness, like fills the whole. Like this man goes off like a bomb.
Yeah. And Feyre's like, wow, I feel really bad that I compared Rhys to Tamlin. Or maybe this is after this. She like compares him to Tamlin. But yeah.
They get in a little fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, later, he's like, I will, oh, I left out. Oh, I will kill anyone who harms you. I will kill them and take a damn long time doing it.
Yeah. And then they get into a fight because I forget what she says to like compare him to Tamlin, but he gets really upset and he like ignores her for a whole day. And like tomorrow is like a holiday. It's Starfall.
He's like, stop comparing him to Tamlin, but the reason he ignores her is because she's like, maybe like you're afraid of showing people who you really are because like then they'll just leave because they won't like you. And I'm like, yeah, but it's kind of the truth. Kind of the truth.
What do you mean it's kind of the truth?
Like he is afraid of like people see who he is because he's afraid that they're gonna walk away. That's his whole like internal wound.
Well, yeah, but I guess he takes it as like you think they would. You think that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, Rhys is like they have this whole like metaphor of he's like, I'm gonna be the villain in Tampon Story because like I stole the Bride of Spring, which I was like, wow, Sarah, really lay it on thick with the Hades and Persephone, right here.
That's true, yeah.
And then later, Feyre is like, Rhys thinks he'll be the villain, but like he's usually the villain's the one who locks the princess up. Like he was the one who let me out. Blah blah blah.
Okay, so tomorrow, so he ignores her for like a whole day, but then like they see each other at Starfall, which is like the stars migrating. Yeah, but like they watch the like it looks like us shooting stars, but like it's not really. It's like spirits on their yearly migration somewhere, and there's less and less of them every time. And he's like, yeah, Amarantha like made sure I could never see this. And then he gets a hit in the face with some stars.
No, Feyre gets hit first.
Yeah.
And then Rhys does. And I'm just like, this is portrayed as like this cutesy little, haha, you've got like goo, like glowing goo all over your face. You look so silly, haha. But like, it's a spirit. Like, it's not a star. Like, spirit presumes like some sort of like sentience, right? Like, it's not.
Well, it could just be that they're like spraying shit on them. I don't think it's an entire one. It could just be like
I think it's an entire something. One. No, I think an entire one smashes I think it's like into her face.
I picture it as like bird poop. You know, what did they call it? Like spirit goo or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a spirit. I think an entire spirit. I was like, no wonder.
Maybe that's why there's less and less because you guys are out here like, letting them make in the face.
Why are there less spirits? And 5 seconds later, 2 of them like die.
Or is it like very like climate change or something? Like
it absolutely is.
Is that what the metaphor? Yeah. So they make up and like So next they have to go to the Illyrian war camp for some reason. Like. They go there.
They have to like check on them. Make sure they're prepared for
make
war.
Sure the girls are training and not just doing chores first. And then Rhys finally tells her that Tamlin and his dad and brother killed Rhys's father and brother and like also his mom and sister. Or sorry, not Rhys's father and brothers, Rhys's father, mother, and sister. And that like Rhys and Tamlin had been friends. And then like Rhys saved Tamlin's life because Rhys's dad was ready to kill Tamlin's dad. Was ready to kill Tamlin and Tamlin's dad, but like only got to kill the dad. You know? Yeah. So like
and Tamlin's the reason that Rhys's mom and sister got killed because he like told his brothers and dad like where Rhys was.
Right. Yeah.
Or was like, supposed to be. And then he
like
wasn't.
Meeting them. Yeah, exactly.
Like what a little weenie, Tamlin. And kept their wings as trophies. Like, that's so fucked up.
I know, like, still even past. Like, and it's like going around telling people just like the one side that it wasn't like they started it. Yeah. And they did it just because like they were worried that Rhys was going to be too powerful or something, right? Like, they just wanted to like knock him down.
Yeah, they like knew that Rhys was too I don't know. Or like to show that they could. They're really little, vague. Like,
since Supreme Court is like small. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, so then they're like hanging out in this fucking like camp. Rhys is like, no true Illyrian ever made a home with only one exit. And I was like, yeah, of course. I never understood. That's crazy to only have one door. You always got to have an escape route. Yeah. At least 2. At least. Maybe a window to escape.
We get a little bit more of like the Illyrian racism, but like the racism implicit in the writing of the Illyrians, not the racism towards Illyrians. Like just about how like they're the only like canonically dark-skinned Fae.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like sure? Alice has dark skin, is like brown, but she has like bark skin. You know what I mean? Like she's not.
Oh, I just didn't even like notice that the Illyrians.
They're supposed to be dark skinned. That's why Rhys can be ethnically ambiguous because he's just tan. Because like,
but Cassie and Azriel are like,
dark. They're supposed to be. Well, they're described as like super tan, but like. Yeah, they're the only canonically like dark skinned, but like the Court of Dreams is just constantly like, oh, these people suck, and like we're just gonna write them off as like people to die in the war. Like basically they're just like dumb soldiers. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
also to be fair, they were like really fucking mean to Cassian and Ezra.
No, they were, but like I just feel like they I don't know. I feel like
because like as Rhys says, like he goes in and like tries to like make them stop like being mean to the girls, but then he's like, what am I? There's like, why aren't you doing more? And he's like, well, what am I gonna do? Like go in and like literally kill all the parents and like raise all the kids myself because like that's the only way to like change the culture. Well, that would be even more like you're saying like
no.
Like
no, I'm saying
like what do you mean
not,
writing them like what's the alternative?
I'm just saying the fact that they're the only like group of dark, like, you know, Helion, like the Summer Court guy is like dark skinned,
sure?
but he seems to be like,
is that something that other people agree on, or is it just something you're saying from
no? Okay. That's like a discussion. It's just that it's the fact that Sarah chose, and like they're like the primitive, like backwards, what, you know what I mean? Just like the whole characterization paired with the fact that like they're also people of color, like technically. Like Sarah showing bad vibes a little bit there.
So Feyre and Rhys are off to travel. Unclear where they're traveling because they never get there.
Okay, yeah. So Feyre and Rhys have like gone off into the woods to train because I guess like Feyre could like burn everything down accidentally or whatever. Yeah, they're in the woods.
They have like confrontation with Lucien. Lucien like appears to try to like steal Feyre back, and like she's like, "Leave me the fuck alone, dude." And he's like, "What's she?" And she gives this long speech about how she like if they like try to like get her back again, like she'll fucking end them.
Yeah. And she gives Lucien like a very brief tongue lashing about like his being complicit and like the abuse or whatever. But I feel like not to the extent that he deserves. And I feel like Lucien and Feyre never really have it out. Like I feel like she never like satisfactorily is like, hey, what the fuck? And he's never satisfactorily like, yeah, that was fucked up. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
know we kind of like leave it here. Yeah. It's never like really brought up again.
Well, it gets brought up in the next book, but again, like it's like a 2-line conversation, and then they go to sleep.
He never like really, So like Feyre has wings. So then like her and Rhys are traveling. Like I'm not really sure where because they never get there.
Wait. Sorry, there's slightly more to that scene. So Feyre's there. Feyre like winnows. She learns how to winnow to like escape from to stop like Lucien from grabbing her because he's there with the other Night Court Sentinels, and then she like. Yeah, she gives herself wings, which like the poetry of Tampon's gift being the thing that like makes her fully like Night Court is like, love it. Chef's kiss.
You really think he could shapeshift into anything?
I know he could shape it. Oh, I was wrong. I've said like all High-Lords have beast forms. I think I was phrasing that wrong. Rhys, it's not that he has like a beast form. It's like when he takes his glamour off, he's more like beast, like he has like talons and stuff.
Oh, weird.
You know what I mean? I think that's what it is more. Anyway, yeah. So Feyre and Rhys, Rhys appears and he does a little bit of magic, which is bad because he's not supposed to be using magic because that's how they determined somehow that's how they tracked them with the ash arrows. But they instead of being like calmly just being like, listen, the Night Court's cool. I'm happy. Please leave me alone, Lucien. Like, instead of like, she has to be like, sometimes the darkness stares back. And like, she's like, I have to do this to protect Valaris. Meanwhile, they're like about to show the human queens Valaris. I'm like, do you think it's not going to get back to the rest of the courts? Like, if you tell like this group of 8 people, I just instead of being chill, they have to be dramatic.
Well, I don't think it becomes like a public knowledge just because they told the human queens or they're telling the human queens. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is.
But I'm just like,
I know it's never
Feyre, you could just be like, you don't have to be like, you don't have to. He still might not have believed her.
Yeah, you still might not have believed her though. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So then her and Rhys go off. I'm unclear where they're headed to. But they're on their like, classic fantasy travel sequence, and they show up at this like fantasy forest inn which is, you know, just picture like classic, like stop along the
fantasy
way.
Forest
of, like,
Inn.
Yeah, the fantasy forest inn. Like, I'm picturing it like inside like a gigantic tree. Like, I don't know.
Oh, really? Oh.
Like Keebler Health style.
I was just picturing like medieval tavern, but like I like the tree thing better.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then of course only one bed.
Of course, only one bed. And it's like
bed.
really cold and they have to like, she doesn't want to use the bathroom because it's like public and like it's just like upstairs really cold.
Yeah. And Rhys brings her a delicious stew. And I'm like, there is nothing better than stew and a fantasy novel.
I agree.
Like,
yeah,
there's nothing that sounds more
except for some, with some bread. Yeah, yes,
with some bread, with some like warm crust, like crusty bread with like nothing is better than food in a fantasy novel. No matter like,
I know, because they can make it as delicious as they want. You're like Harry Potter, yeah, like.
But it's even like, but it's not even like it's not like it's described in any way. Other than like normal fucking stew. Right. It's just like your imagination. This particular stew is like mystery meat stew. So
right, like she said it's rabbit, but who's to say?
Yeah, but I'm just like, that sounds so fucking good.
Yeah.
Some of that
like
stew.
You just
I need meat for fantasy stew. That's what that's all I'm saying. If someone gave me a pot of fantasy stew, I would eat meat.
Fantasy meat. It's not real meat. Yeah, exactly. Just for that.
Right. Fantasy animal. They're not real.
Yeah. Rhys is basically like, I want to sleep with you. But like
they have to cuddle for
not enough room. Yeah, they're like spooning.
And he like so he fingers her instead.
Yeah. And then the next morning, like
wait. There's a cat reference that you're leaving out. He describes at one point, like while he's fingering her, she describes it as a cat playing with its dinner. And then later at the end, he licks his fingers. So like a cat licking the cream.
Ew, please don't. They say that?
I don't think they say cat licking the cream, but
okay. Well, why did you say
the metaphor?
No, I hate it. Why are you like this? Okay. The next morning, somehow it comes up. She's like, "Well, why did you make this bargain? Like making me come here like every month or whatever?" And he's just like, "Oh, well, you know, like I wanted to piss off Tamlin, obviously. And I had to find a way to like keep you alive and not tip off Amarantha." And she's like, "Ooh, that is not the answer we were looking for. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch." Like,
but then he gets shot by ash arrows.
Yeah, like they're flying again, and they once again get fucking like ambushed because they never like figured out. Like that should have been a big priority. Like who's attacking us?
They figured out that it was Rhys's magic they were tracking, and Rhys used like a tiny bit of magic in the confrontation with Lucian to like.
The question of not how they found them, but like who is attacking them?
Yeah,
from like before. Like that's the question. Like who is trying to get you?
I feel like there's some vague like Asriel's looking into it. Like
yeah, but like apparently not very well. Like
yeah, no. And I want to know, did they find him then because of the small amounts of magic, or because Lucian narked after they went away? Like
yeah, that's unclear. Yeah, right. Like they could have. Yeah, I have no idea. It could have been either way. It's not even narking. Like he's explicitly there to like fucking track them. Like yeah, like it's totally. It's not even like it was a betrayal. That implies it was some kind of betrayal. But they know that Lucian like is not on their side at this point. Like very much not. Very much anti Night Court. Very much pro killing Rhys and getting Feyre back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whoever it is that shot them down, like he like throws Feyre, so she like gets away. And so like they take Rhys and she has to find him, and she like figures out how to like winnow. She like shapeshifts to night vision.
Yes,
it's a pretty cool
she changes
trick.
her eyes to animal eyes.
She can change to anything. Yeah, this is severely underutilized.
And that was really fucking sick. Like, I was like, more of this, please. That's cool fantasy detail.
Yeah,
like screw her giving herself wings. I want to see her like giving herself somehow changing like her nasal cavity so she can smell like an animal. Like, give me it. She gives herself night vision.
And she like winnows from like forest branch to forest branch. Like picture like Tarzan swinging from the trees, except like just winnowing. Like I don't know, like track him. And like constantly there's like animals like rustling around, like trying to jump up and grab her. Like picture like, I don't know, picturing like dinosaurs like fucking jumping up. Like Sarah keeps it vague, which is smart because like that makes it scarier. Yeah. And then she finally what?
But wait. Were you gonna say she finally finds him?
Yeah.
Okay, but Rachel, how does she track Rhys? Because like they've
created a decoy, like taken one group go one way, one group go the other way, and she's like, oh rats, like they must have taken his clothes to like trick me. But then she realizes that like one way has her scent on him, which like wouldn't his clothes have her scent on him too? I don't know, unclear. But yeah, she's like, yeah, because we didn't get a chance to shower.
Talk about sex scenes furthering the plot. Like,
that's so true. Listen,
Sarah. I was like, what a detail. What a hilarious detail. Yeah. Sarah's sitting there at her computer being like, how's Feyre gonna know which one?
It's so fucking they fucking genius. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think she like know that? I mean, that is like the quintessence. Listen, Forreston, the classic Forreston sex scene, plot furthering sex scene.
Yeah. I was like, this is great. This is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So Feyre like finds him. There's like the special chains that like are like fucking mind and Hybern or something that like nullify Rhys's power. And they're unclear if they're lead, unclear if like how lead is involved, if at all, but they nullify his power. And she has to like get the arrows out of his wings. That's like really hard. And she doesn't know how to,
which is great.
Yeah.
Like kills all his
So yeah, she doesn't know how to like help him or whatever.
He's poisoned. That's why.
Yeah. She goes out and like catches the cereal again, like unclear again if it's the same cereal. It's unclear if it's the cereal or a cereal, but
literally everyone is like, oh, the cereal's so terrifying, like, oh, it's horrible. And meanwhile, like Feyre, like it sees
it's like the nymphs,
like it's like, oh, it'll kill you on sight, like the cereal, like don't go near it. And Feyre like captures it,
gives
twice,
it some grapes,
and the cereal's just like, girl, all right, here's the latest gossip. Like, let me fill you in.
Thanks for the grape. But like,
here's how to heal your mate.
Yeah, and she like lets it go, and it doesn't kill her or anything, like ever. Yeah. No, right. And so the cereal calls Rhys her mate, and she's like, wait, what the fuck? And the cereal's like, oh, you didn't know? Whoops.
No.
Oh, so silly. Whoopsie.
Remember when I said stay with the High Lord? Like 2 years ago,
wink wink, a year ago, yeah, 1 book ago. And I just like, so she's like really mad, but she goes back and like saves him. And the cereal's like, give Rhys some of your blood to like you have the healing power.
Plant. Yeah.
Like, do they not have any way to call for help from the gang? Like that feels like a real, like they just feels like they should. Like they boldly have like mind to mind, like they have like the I don't know.
I mean, ideally Feyre would be able to widow, but like she's not strong enough to like get them both out.
Well, but like, why don't they even have like some kind of magical walkie-talkie system?
I don't. That's a
or
great
just a
question.
Normal walkie-talkie.
Rachel,
system.
that would make far too much sense.
Yeah, like I don't.
Well, no, but okay, but
waves.
listen. I mean, you do have to like. There's a constant discussion about how cell phones, like the prominence of cell phones, has like made writing contemporary books a lot harder because it's so much harder. But even like thrillers, like you know what I mean, like it's so much harder to do the tension because like you can communicate and like people can know where you are, you know, like
right.
So like maybe Sarah was like,
I'm simply not dealing with this.
So we're not doing
it. It's actually not that hard. Like all you have to do is be like, oh, their battery died, or like, oh no, like water or something. Although like phones do seem a lot more impervious to water recently, but knock on wood.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's really fucking mad at Rhys. It turns out that like Amren and Mor knew, but like Asriel and Cassian didn't. They only suspected. And she
Amren and Mor only knew because they smelled her.
And then why couldn't Cassian and Asriel have done that?
I don't know.
I don't think that's no. And I think they just like guessed correctly and like are just like just really sure. I don't know, unclear. Like just like beat it out of him in a way that like Cassie and Asriel weren't able to do. I don't know.
Well, I don't know because at one point when Amren meets Feyre, she's like, it's like, oh, she sniffed and she went interesting, and then like Rhys is like, be cool, shh.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense, but whatever. Yeah.
And Feyre's main gripe is that he didn't tell her because he thought it was best. And like, listen, it was like ultimately it was good that he didn't tell her because like she wasn't ready for that shit. But like, it's that he didn't tell her. She felt
really guilty this whole time about like, quote unquote, like not being faithful to Tamlin.
Yeah. And then, she was mad that like he didn't tell her and that his friends knew when she did it.
So she asked Mor to take her somewhere like far away. And she takes her to like this cabin that like only allows in family. And she's like, well, you can go in because you're his mate. Like, Which like makes me wonder, like, if you marry someone who's not your mate, because people boldly do that in this universe, could they just not get in?
She's been spelled in. It's not necessarily family. Like Cassian and Amren and Azriel can go there too because they've been like added to the security.
To the roster. Okay.
Yeah. So Feyre's been added to the security. And she's like, because I'm his mate. And Mora's like, did he tell you or did you guess? And she's like, I left him to die in the mud just now. What do you think? Like, he left him like cold and injured in the mud. Which one do you think it is more?
So, well, yeah, either way. Like, and then she's just like, she's like, thank you for bringing me here more. It's like a polite dismissal. It really is a good dismissal. I've used it recently. Like, you just want people, you can just say, well, thank you so much. Off you go.
Away.
That's a script. Now, file that away. Feyre knows.
Feyre knows.
Yeah.
She doesn't know a lot, but she knows that.
She gets to work immediately, like painting the whole house. Cause like, of course.
But like, everyone always gives Feyre shit for painting Rhys's cabin without asking. And then I saw someone being like, yeah, but Rhys painted her body without asking. So like,
that's so true.
Like, just, but also
when
like,
you could easily get rid of it. Like, it's not.
There's a fan theory that Feyre's just like really bad at drawing and everyone just like humors her. So I just like imagine like,
I know,
stick figures all over the wall. Like,
so she draws like 5 pairs of eyes for all 5 of them. And I realized it's giving like Bella doodling in Twilight when she draws 5 pairs of eyes. Like, and then I realized that like the characters in this book, like it basically is Twilight. Yeah. If like Rosalie was the one who was Feyre's best friend. And maybe not even because Amren is small and has like somewhat spiky hair. Or sorry. Like I guess like Amren could still be Rosalie. I don't know. That's why I was first thinking that Amren would be Alice.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, because it's like obviously like Edward, Bella.
Oh, Rhys for sure.
Feyre, and then like Jacob, Cassian and Azriel.
And Seth.
Azriel's Jasper. Cassian is who's Jacob and Seth?
Cassian and Azriel is what I was doing because they're like.
No, that would be Emmett and Jasper.
Yeah.
Like Cassian is Emmett. Yeah. Jasper is Azriel. Like moody and mopey and like creepy. Like, yeah.
Well, that's Jacob too. Moody and mopey and creepy.
Well, sure. Yeah, but like no. I just mean it that literally map onto the Twilight family, but like without Carlisle and Esme.
Which good. Wait, it's so funny that you also had a Twilight like vibe during this specific scene because I too had like a completely separate Twilight like thought, which is that when Feyre's like she's imagining like a cute future like with Rhys and the gang like hanging out at the cabin, whatever, and like that's great and everything, but she's imagining like them running through meadows, and I had a horrible flashback to like Renesmee running with Jacob in that stupid like scene that like Alice shows Edward at the end of the book.
God.
Which doesn't creepy aged up Renesmee.
Can't see any of them.
You know what? The thing is that Renesmee and Jacob look like Feyre and Rhys. Like they're similar.
And Bella and Jacob do too. But yeah. Like yeah. Anyway, then Mora paints some stick figures, which is nice of her when she comes back to visit. And then like
so Feyre does know the difference between stick figures. So I guess like she's not that interested.
So Rhys finally finds her.
He has to fly because he can't use magic.
Yeah. And then she's like, fine, like, do you want me to heat you up some food? And he's like, you'd make me food?
Perked up, arms up?
Yeah, and she's like, heat you up, just to clarify, heat you up some food. I have some like Campbell's chicken noodle soup over here. Like don't get too excited. Like, and like, yeah, no. Oh, and this is where I actually wrote the note, like, because he's telling her about how when he got captured, like, he's like, yeah, they were trying to get me, or he's telling her about like during the fucking like war.
He tells her his whole backstory. She's like, I'm going to heat up the soup. You tell me the whole long story, and I'll decide whether to give you the soup as like the mating ritual.
Right, because he explained that it's like the mating ritual. Yeah, it's like this is like you accept
the female gives the male soup, which like,
or like any food.
Does that mean there are no gay mates? Are there no gay mates? If there are gay mates, who's the one giving the soup?
Well, I think it's whoever figures it out first. I guess like usually it's like, yeah, that's interesting.
No,
It's like, is there any
like
question about the man accepting the bond? Like, I don't know. Is there just like never any question about the man accepting the bond? It's like, does the woman accept it? I don't know. And he's basically like, yeah, I was captured. This is when he's like, well, yeah, like they had captured me and they were trying to get me to give them information, but they didn't know that I'm an Illyrian. All they had to do to get me to yield was like to threaten to cut off my wings. And I was like, yeah, it's just so fucked up that they like. Anyway, we already talked about this.
Yeah, but it was Amarantha who captured her in the war. And so when she came back, Rhys was like, hey, she's a baddie. We shouldn't listen to her. And he was like ready to kill her. And then she like took all their powers first.
Yeah. And then like when he's with Amarantha, he like tied Valaris to like the gang more in the gang.
Yeah.
To them staying there. So that's why they couldn't get out to try to rescue him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really bold of Amarantha to curse Hamlet. Yeah.
Pretty silly. I'm going to be honest.
Well, he just like didn't want to risk them. Like, I guess it's the classic. Like,
it feels like
bullshit.
The Illyrians, and if like, you know, Moore could just come in and like tell Amarantha some hard truths and then she's done. Like, yeah, apparently. But no, yeah. And then so
Moore could just come in and tell Amarantha some hard truths.
Her gift is truth. That's what I was like. She just comes in and she's like, Amarantha, you have split ends. Amarantha dies.
More it's like so powerful. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, like I don't.
You have split ends, and there's a zit on your chin.
You're right, and it seems like Amren could have boldly like.
Yeah. No.
Like unless their power was also somehow diminished.
No.
It was just the
High Lords.
I don't fucking know.
Also,
but Amarantha had all the High Lords' power, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Even if they're what?
Even if they're but I don't think she could necessarily use their power. I think she just had it under wraps. But even if somehow their power was diminished, Amren's not like, she's not a real fairy. So like her powers wouldn't be linked to Rhys's.
Yeah. Unless you have to do that to like become part of the court or something. Like become part of the hive mind, the web of minds.
And then he's like, and then I was dreaming about someone, and then it was you. And so that's why Callum and I was
3 years ago. Yeah.
There you are. I've been looking for you. Yeah. Which honestly, listen, good on the cauldron. At least. Good on the cauldron for not showing him Feyre when she was like 6. Like
that's what I said. I was like, it's good that she wasn't a kid. Yeah. Like at least she was like somewhat, I wouldn't say adult, but like she's older
16.
Teenager.
It was 3 years ago because she's 19. Or I guess she's 20 now because her birthday passed and they didn't celebrate it. She was an older teenager at least, or medium teenager. Yeah. And then we find out that Claire didn't feel pain, so that's nice. Oh, Claire better,
held her mind, and then
and Rhys was like,
scream at the appropriate times.
I never dreamed that you would tell me a real name. He's like, I really gave you too much credit there. I thought you were going to make up a totally wrong name.
Right. No, I know. Yeah. And then they say, I love you. And then Rhys gives except the mating bond, a slow, satisfied male smile, which like, what is a male smile?
I don't know.
I mean, this is one of many. I don't know why I decided to write this one down. Yeah. And then and then they have sex. They had the table scene, which I remember as being like so hot. Like when I first read that, I was like, wow, it's like top notch. But I was also like so early on in like reading.
Well, that's what I said. Like, they have like a sex montage or whatever. And I was like, it's the scene that introduced like 1,000 youths to like the wonders of on-page sex. But some of these youths sadly are still like, yeah, this is the sexiest book I've ever read. And I'm like, oh, there's so much more out there.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. And then and then so the sex montage, the sheets are changed by the domestic magic of the house, which like again
who
brings me
is
back
it?
to like, why have servants when everyone could just like, I know,
right?
Or is it
magic?
Right, or is it like actually secret servants that are just like invisible? Like, I had no idea.
Maybe the cabin's small enough that like they can do domestic magic, but like the townhouse isn't. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Yeah. So then they have to go meet with the dumb queens.
Yeah, they're back.
And Nesta gives this like whole impassioned speech about like why they should give them the fucking other half of the book, and it doesn't
again work. She also dunked on them the first time too. She was basically like, every time Nesta meets the queen, she's like, you suck.
She's not wrong. Yeah.
Cassian, after Nesta makes her big impassioned speech, is like, I'll fight for you, Nesta. Like he comes in, he makes his
follow
move.
you
He's
anywhere,
like,
woman. It's giving like in Twilight when and Kate.
I'll follow you anywhere, woman.
Yeah.
And listen, Kate and
Now
Garrett
you
were the
tell
best
me.
couple of that series. So
yeah, seriously.
Anyway, they show Valaris and it's not enough. And so the queens are like, you suck.
Kate and who?
Garrett.
Yeah. You suck. Yeah, they won't do it. Yeah. And Feyre like really has like this really bad like feeling like what's the word? Like a premonition. She's like, you shouldn't tell them, you shouldn't tell them, but like they do. Yeah. And then they're like, you suck, and all the queens leave, but then they see the book.
But it's just two. Just two of all the queens.
Yeah, because other ones pretended to be sick or whatever. Yeah. And the youngest, like the golden queens, what she calls her, she's like blonde hair.
Yeah. Who I thought was evil, but I guess not. I thought she was gonna be a villain.
But she leaves the book and she leaves in the note that's like, do not trust the others. The sixth queen was not ill.
Yeah.
And then they got the book, which is good. But then
Rhys also offers Nesta and Elaine to stay in Valaris to like keep them safe, and they don't go because of Elaine's racist fiance. Mm-hmm. I just want to point that out, that Elaine is the reason that they don't go to safety in Fairylands.
Which like unclear how safe it is given what's about to happen. Like,
I mean,
what's
but
about to happen,
they're not going to get kidnapped. They're in the townhouse.
Well, yeah, which is like apparently the one house that's warded, which like, why isn't every house in Valaris warded? I don't know. Yeah. But so Feyre's, I forget where Rhys goes. Rhys goes off to like fuck around, and then like she sees like basically an all adder army invades Valaris, which is like, remember when I was like, why is it just the adder? Why is it the adder? Why would there only be one? And I was right. There's many adder.
There's many adder.
She's like, it's weird. No Illyrians know about this city. It couldn't be the winged Illyrians. It's the fucking adders.
It's the adders. And
a body.
Cassian has retractable armor. Like Cassian like taps one of his siphons and it just like it's fucking like spy like Iron Man shit just like comes out. And I was like, this, I don't think we ever see that again. I was like, why isn't this brought up more? That's really fucking sick. Every time I want him like pressing a button and his fucking like armor scales out.
Yeah. No, it is sick. And then like a body falls from the sky and is impaled on a spike. And it's like the fucking blonde queen whose eyes have been plucked out. Like it's really gory. Her hair has been cut off. And Feyre like wants to save her, but like it's too late. Like she's dead.
Yeah, she dies.
Yeah.
Because God, she's fucking dead.
Yeah. So that's like the first clue that the mortal queens might not be, except for the blonde queen, might not be exactly on our side.
There may be something else to think going.
I might quite a worried way.
Because they're like, oh, the queens. But I have a question. So they're like, oh, the queens must have told Hybern about Valaris. But I have a question about timing. Maybe I missed something. But didn't they like literally just get back from?
Yeah, it's like really quick.
So it's been like 2 hours.
I think
like, how does this happen?
It might have been like a day or two. Like, what do you mean? How does it happen? It might have been a day or two. Well, why wouldn't they act quickly? Like, as soon as they have the knowledge of Valaris, which I guess it gives the queens the ability to like tell them where it is on a map. Also, like, I don't know. We're just like that it does exist. Like, I have no idea how. I don't know how it gives them the power to break.
I think they see the coast, and then Hybern has this like magic book.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how it gives them the ability to like break the wards. I guess like once you know the secret, you can let anyone you want in, which is like wild.
I don't know.
Which like, why wouldn't the citizens, like then it's like on the citizens of Valaris for not letting in the other Night Court people too. Like if they don't know or the rest of the world, like I don't know. No idea. But basically
there's a big battle.
Yeah. And like big battle. Feyre uses her like water wolves.
Yeah. Which is sick. She has water animals. And then she like douses people in water and like freezes them.
Yeah. And like someone is turning people to stone. I think maybe Amren. Amren's like super powerful.
Yeah. She's just like pointing and zapping.
And then Feyre's like, until hands encased in stone tumbled from the sky, which is really just giving like hand machine from Llamas with hand. Like, not
Llamas with hands?
No. The Llamas with hand. I have the rumblies that Llamas with hats. Llamas with hats. You know the Llamas with hats YouTube videos? Watch it if not. You gotta link it for the people.
But I don't think I've seen that.
You never watched it.
But it would have been a long time ago.
My stomach was making the rumblies that only hands could satisfy. And then at one point he makes the meat grinder machine where it's like just makes baby hands to eat.
I don't know. All right.
Dragon.
You know what, Rachel?
Anyway, that's what it reminded me of.
Me saying cream, this is what you do.
Sorry. Okay. So
wait, but I just want to say in the middle of this battle is when I realized that the rainbow of Valaris is not a literal rainbow. it's the artist's corner that are just colorful buildings. Like it's just a part of the city. And listener, I'm saying I didn't realize this when I first read this book. I'm saying I've read this whole series, the first and second book, twice. And it wasn't until that moment where I was like, oh my God, it's not an actual rainbow. I literally thought there was just a giant rainbow in the middle of Valar. Like, am I alone? Did you think that? Did you know that it was buildings?
I don't know what I thought. Yeah, I think I thought it was a rainbow, like by the river or something. I have no idea. Water droplets.
I don't know.
So yeah, Feyre kills the adder, which there's apparently many, many adder, but she kills the adder, which is good.
She sees it escaping and she's like, I think the fuck not.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of cool how she does it. I don't know. She like is grappling with it and then she like winnows them like a foot above the ground or like whatever, or like they fall. She like traps his wings, like they're both falling together, and then like she winnows away like at the last moment. I was like, Feyre, that was well done. This is the Feyre that trapped the Middengard worm. Feel like we haven't really been seeing her until just now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then so Feyre's like, there's a quote where it's like, Feyre, Cursebreaker, defender of the rainbow. And I was like, Sarah J. Maas said gay rights.
Yeah.
Feyre said gay rights.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now Amren's finally figured out how to use the book.
Yeah, Amren boldly cracked the code, which is like really impressive. Which like, and she's like, the news is not good, which like unclear why. Like that's
I don't know.
Basically,
she's like, hey, there's one rule. I'm going to give you these two halves of the book so that you can go nullify the cauldron. But there's one rule. Don't put them together. Do not put the two halves together. Terrible things will happen.
Right. And Feyre's like,
it'll awaken terrible things that were better off left sleeping. Yeah. And I just want to say, Feyre does do this. Like next chapter, she puts them together.
Immediately.
She's like,
nothing
whatever
happens.
No, what terrible things were awakened?
I don't know. Like maybe that's just like, this is like Boy Credible. Like Amren told her like about like lying to her about the ring, and Feyre's like, all right, well now I will just no longer be taking anything you say seriously ever again. Like noted. Yeah, great. Nothing happens. I mean, terrible things happen, but not because of that. Like it would have.
It implies that it'll awaken like some like monsters that have been like sleeping. You know what I mean? Or like
it actually does nothing. Yeah, I'm really unclear on like what. I don't know.
Well, it gives Feyre a nosebleed. One thing,
right? It makes her like
whatever. I don't know. So they go to Hybern, and they're so fucking cocky about it. They're like, Azriel's like, we have been like observing like the guard change schedule, like blah 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 blah, and they're like, yeah, we planned like an infiltration of the castle so well. Like as they're going through, they're like, Feyre's like, no one's here. It must be because like Cassian and Azriel planned this so well that like we're not going to meet any guards. I just like how arrogant. Like they get to this castle, which first of all, they describe this castle, or Feyre describes it as crumbling, and like how embarrassing for Hybern to like have his castle be described as crumbling.
Maybe it's just an aesthetic choice. Like who's to say?
I mean, I don't know, but like that's really embarrassing.
Yeah. So like, yeah, she combines the book halves, like nothing happens, and then Hybern walks in.
No, Jurian walks in.
Jurian walks in.
Hey guys, it's me.
And like shoots an arrow through Azriel. So like that's why they're in danger now. And like
it was a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. And then like Hybern walks in, or Jurian. Someone is like
Jurian leads them up.
Leads them. Yeah.
Leads them up to the throne room.
And then one of them, Jurian or Hybern, is like, you were always such a liar, Morrigan, to Moore. But like her gift is truth.
Her gift is truth.
Like, I have no idea.
I think that's supposed to be ironic, but the irony is missed on me because I don't know what she does.
I know. Yeah.
like
no, just like, is that purposeful? Like, do you think that's on purpose that Sarah wants to keep it vague, or do you think it's
I feel like we're probably going to get a book with Moore's perspective at some point.
Okay,
because do
you think like she thinks that we know what her gift is or not?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Like it's a meme at this point. Like it's a fandom meme.
Okay, so it's not just us. Okay.
So like she does it, like she's gotta know that everyone's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to point out that Feyre recognizes Jurian even before he introduces himself by the color of his eyes, which is insane.
I never understood how people other people notice other people's eyes a lot more than I do.
No, I don't think this is actually a thing. Like, I
It's
don't
just in
think
books.
it's just a thing in
It's
books.
so
Like,
many
people do not
books.
recognize eyes. Because I've heard people being like, everyone's always like, oh, her eyes are so beautiful. Like in the first like character is introduced, like that's one of like eyes and hair color, like one of the things that are described. And I've seen like multiple people being like, I never fucking notice people's eyes. Like, that's so weird. And just the fact that she saw it in a ring, like one single eye in a ring, and was like, yes, that's him.
Yeah, like, do they say, yeah, this is before they said his name. Yeah, there's no furniture in Hybern's house either. No art, which is bold.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Then
it's crumbling, Rachel. He can't even afford basic repairs. He can't. Why would he be able to afford furniture? His only furniture is his throne made out of human bones and the cauldron, which is apparently the size of a bathtub.
Which, like, I really want to take a bath now.
I know. Listen, I know that like it makes sense for it to be the size of a bathtub in terms of like how it's used 5 minutes from now.
Well, but is it not round? Like, I don't get it.
Why is it so big? It doesn't make any. I'm not imagining it like that. I'm imagining it's like a little pot.
Oh, it makes sense for it to be big. I was picturing it doesn't make sense for it to be bathtub shaped, but I guess like size and shape.
Well, maybe like, it's not.
Is Feyre able to like discern volume at a snap glance despite different radius?
Is that a new Feyre skill?
Oh, speaking of radius, the eclipse, April 8th, 2024. Mark your calendars.
Yeah, listeners.
You should come down. It's
in North America.
Yeah, it's like
instead of going down to Texas, I was thinking it would be cool to like, I don't know, like go like take a little mini vacation to like the Great Lake, because it's crossing over the Great Lakes, like rent a little house on the beach and like have a few days, and one of the days is the eclipse. Anyway,
that would be nice. Well, except that it's already going to be where I am going to be.
Yeah, I know,
like,
but
it
goes
right through. Even when I'm there, why not?
I've already been to Texas when you're there, and Texas still sucks even when you're there.
You've been to Houston. Houston sucks.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, it's bathtub sides. They roll up and everybody gets screwed over because Tamlin is the biggest bitch boy on the planet.
Yeah, so in walk Tamlin and Lucien, and which again, like, how does Lucien get redeemed after this? Like, that's incredible to me.
He does. I don't think he's been fully redeemed yet.
Oh, also, like April in the Great Lakes. April in the Great Lakes is not going to be nice weather.
Oh, well, I'm okay with like the beach when it's cold. Doesn't need to be.
Yeah, but why? What are you going to do on the beach in April in Michigan?
Move on. This is like 6 months from now.
Just so bold of you.
I'm going to the beach for New Year's.
Yeah, but like, it's just really bold.
Anyway, let's move on. We're almost done. The book is almost over. I know you and Mom don't understand that the beach could be nice when it's not warm. But...
No, I have nothing against the beach. It's just really bold to be like, I'm going to go to fucking the Midwest.
You know what? Mom was like, I don't like the seasons changing because I don't like change. And I was like, all right, I'm willing to believe that you don't like change, but I don't think that's the reason you don't like 4 seasons. I was like, do you not like when it changes to spring? And he was like, no, I like that. And I was like, what about when it changes to summer? And he was like, no, I like
he likes warm weather.
So it's just when it's change. It's the cold. It's not the change.
He doesn't like the cold. Yeah, exactly.
I know, but he was insisting it was because he didn't like change. And like, I was like, it's because you don't like cold. You would be totally fine if it were like changing a few, like it was still warm.
Yeah, no, it's
Anyway, it was just funny. He was like really, really insisting, but I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so I can't believe that Lucien gets redeemed after this. Like, I
don't think he's really redeemed yet. I'm just thinking of he's kind of like a loner, like him and Jurian.
I've redeemed. I mean, like, they let him like in their group at all. Yeah, you're right. Jurian,
well, they have to let him in there. They have to let him because of like circumstances.
So we already talked about how like Jurian's motives don't quite add up.
No. It
and it turns out that Ianthe is like behind all of this. Like, she's the one like scheming to get Tamlin on Hybern's. Yeah, like Tamlin basically like sold out his entire court to Hybern in order to get Feyre back, who doesn't even want to get him back.
Yeah, to give Hybern access to his lands.
Yeah,
he's going to give Hybern access to lands to take down the wall. Here's my question though. Here's what I was wondering. Like, listen, objectively, this is bad, but genuinely consider all circumstances are the same. But Rhys is doing this. and it's presented as like Rhys making this big sacrifice to get Feyre back. Like he doesn't know that she doesn't want to be there or whatever. Like he genuinely believes that like she's being held prisoner. Or like anyone, you know what I mean? Like imagine like if we were told same scenario from Tamlin's perspective, like I think that could just as easily be portrayed as like the villain is willing to sacrifice the world to get you back for like the love and like whatever. I don't know whether I'm explaining it.
No,
I just think there's a very easy way.
Like Rhys isn't wrong that there's like a spin on this that still makes Tamlin the hero.
I'm just saying, like, it's objectively bad, especially what happens next. Which
so, I mean, if you're assuming that knows that she wants her back, like, why? If it were Rhys, like, no, if you're right, yeah. But anyway, then the king drags out Elain and Nesta, which is so like, that doesn't quite add up. Like, why not just like any random human, whatever?
Why both of them? Also, why not just one? Anyway,
for plot reasons.
It's because like, yeah, he drags them out so that they can throw them in the cauldron, which is why I guess it has to be bathtub size because it has to fit a person. So that they can be turned into fairies. And I was like, we all saw this coming, right? Like every time Feyre sees them in this book, she's like waxing poetic about how she's gonna live forever and they're gonna die. And I'm like, Feyre. Sarah. Like,
I don't think I did see that coming.
I don't know that we saw them being captured by Hybern, but I was like, there's no way these fuckers are going to be allowed to remain human.
Yeah, well, it's giving like in Twilight when Jacob's like, yeah, imprinting is like so like they're all like imprinting is so rare, and then like 10 people imprint. It's like no, it's like so no one's ever been turned into a fairy from a human. Like, of course, it will be an entire family.
But now we're like giving it out
through
like
different methods. It's not even the same. It's not even like, oh, we've just got a new method and like now we can use it on everyone. No, like random, like seemingly unrelated circumstances. Like actually, not even. It's like the same like court doing. Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's like Hybern and then like the other people. Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, Elain gets thrown in and it's traumatic or whatever. And now she's a fairy. And Lucian's like, she's my mate. So file that away for later. And then Nesta gets thrown in, but Nesta's like fighting tooth and nail. And even when she gets dragged in, Feyre's like, Nesta's hair is really messy. Like she's absolutely been like fighting this entire time, which like scrappy. But I'm literally obsessed with how like as Nesta's getting like pushed under, all she does is point with like one finger at Hybern. And Hybern like immediately is like a threat. Like he's like actually scared.
Yeah,
like seems all Nesta has to do was like point, and frankly, I don't think anyone else in the series could pull that off.
Yeah, Hybern's kind of giving RO. Like he's small and pale, but very very old.
Yeah, and then Nesta steals from the cauldron. Like Feyre gets like a vibe. That,
we
like,
find out
Nesta...
that later. It took more.
No. Feyre has like a thought where she's like, oh, like Nesta's coming out, but like she's different. She's not like Elain. Like the cauldron had to like give up more than it was willing to. Yeah, Nesta fights with the cauldron as she should.
Yeah,
just like
so. Then Tamlin is like, I want you to break the bond between like Feyre and Rhys. Like it comes out that like Rhys and Feyre are mates, and of course everyone's upset. And Tamlin's like, break the bond.
Wait, sorry, did we say why they turned Nesta and Elain?
Oh, it's as a test because the human queens got promised to be. So
the human queens have arrived. Yeah. So the human queens are going to be turned into fairies and get to be immortal.
Right. So like all 5 of them. Yeah. So besides, the Golden Queen, obviously.
And the 6th queen.
Yeah.
What happened to her? We don't know. So there's only like 4 of them.
So she's missing too.
There's the old one, this other one, and then like the black and white twins.
Oh, so maybe it's not that the 6th queen was not ill. Maybe it's that they like did something to her, which makes sense because I guess why would she not come if she was not? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so we have the reason. Now Tamlin wants to break the bond.
Yeah, and Feyre finally, she's like, oh, fine, brain blast. She's like, oh my God, I've come back to myself. What's going on? And Moore even like plays along. She's like, what did you do to that girl, Rhys?
Oh my God.
Yeah, and Feyre's like, break the bonds. And then like a Hybern does, and it like really hurts. And I remember the horror I felt when they like first severed the bond. I was like, fuck.
Because you think it's the mating bond.
Yeah, you do. Because Feyre is like, and then like there's nothing on the other end of it. Like I can't hear that like dark chuckle in my head anymore.
And Tamlin's like, I don't give a shit if she's your mate. She's mine. Like, So you think it's the mating bond.
Yeah,
You're
it's like a
oh,
crack
fuck.
sounded in my ears as the world cleaved into as the bond.
Yeah,
and the world cleaved
it's
into as the bond stopped. Yeah, and like Hybern's tricked, which doesn't really quite add up. But like,
well, right before she did this, Feyre, like, I don't know, she was like singing to Hybern spells in her head. She was like doing her like weird like gaslighting thing to the magic
to make
and
so she
wall, so she like briefly like emitted like I don't know, a bunch of light, and that like enabled like allowed her to make it so that they can winnow out again, because Hybern made it so that they couldn't like disappear, and that's why they didn't escape. So she's putting on this whole act. He breaks the bond. It's really fucked up. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, fuck. Like I remember being like, so like, what the fuck? Because well, it doesn't. It's like she really plays it up, but she does it good. She has a switcheroo. Because yeah, Farrah's like, I can't hear Rhys anymore. Like that months of like laughter, dark laughter in my head, and now just nothing, which doesn't quite make sense why that's the case. But whatever.
But you do know that Feyre's faking. Like you're never under the impression that Feyre was actually somehow
was like brainwashed. You're right. It's just like it seems like it's giving like she's making a huge sacrifice in order for them all to get away. Because then like they escape and like they take her sisters, because Tamlin was like, her sisters come with us, but like Rhys and Mor get the sisters and like get away with them.
But they leave. Yeah, so they escape with the sisters, but Hybern lets Rhys go. Rhys is like, okay, the bond's been broken. Rhys, you can leave. And like the only escape part is the fact they're taking Nesta and Elaine. But like, why would he let him go? Like you have him there. Like, why wouldn't you kill like your greatest threat?
Well, probably because Rhys could still put up a fight. Like, I forget. There was some reason that it kind of made sense. Because Rhys is like, how about a bargain of your own? Like, if you let me take the sisters or something, like I forget. It's some reason. It's something convoluted. Well, I guess because like they're all in this for the long game. It'd be boring if you killed off all your like main players too early.
Yeah. She doesn't kill off any of her main players.
No, I mean like from even Hybern's perspective, like.
Yeah. He's like, listen, I've been waiting.
Maybe he could have his reasons, right? Because he could be like, if not Rhys, then like it'll just be whoever the next Night Court Lord is. I'll have to deal with them instead. And like at least this is like a known entity. He is like the most powerful ever.
But Hybern's like, listen, I've been waiting 500 years for this. Like, we're not ending this, or like, I want to be entertained. But yeah, so Feyre goes with Tamlin.
Yeah. And then Lucian is like suspicious because Feyre is not panicking about her sisters being gone. But yeah, the twist is that they just broke the like bargain bond, but like even Hybern somehow thought it was the mating bond, even though that's impossible. Like it's impossible to break a mating bond.
Yeah. And it's from, we have Rhys's perspective. Like this is a chapter from Rhys's POV. And he's basically just like, Feyre, two things. Feyre is going to go fuck up the spring court from the inside. 2, Feyre's High Lady, which means nothing. That's me saying that, not Rhys. Like it means it doesn't really seem to change the dynamic at all, except for the fact that I guess they're married now and she's High Lady and she has another tattoo. Like the mating bond, the like bargain tattoo went away, but like now she has another one.
Because remember Tamlin at the beginning was like, there's no such thing as a High Lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which like they're still, Anyway, Feyre goes back to the spring court and she's like, she has her second tattoo and she's like, I forgot how small and quiet it was here. Which I really got like a visceral feeling of like the comparison. Like it's just like a small little manor house that she was like previously so impressed by, but like,
but honestly, like I don't know. Yeah. I still find it cute. I was like, yeah, that seems nice.
I know it's cute, but it's just like so lame compared to like the Night Court. Like just Tamlin is just like a fake High Lord.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe it's just he's like playing house at being a High Lord. Like
yeah, no, I get like the vibe she was, but just like I think mentally, because like I would rather live in a country manor than a city. Like the spring court still sounds better. Like I would rather live in like their cabin with the domestic magic than like in the townhouse.
You have the choice. Yeah. Sometimes you go in for dinner. Yeah.
And the house of
and that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. Twist.
That's all, folks.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Okay, so cat scale. I mean, really high, like off the charts.
I don't know. There was just something. Like we gave ACOTAR a 9.5, and for some reason, like this doesn't feel like a 9.5.
Less. I was trying to compare it. I was trying to compare it to ACOTAR. I think it feels more because it's more Rhys.
I understand.
And like more Amren.
I know. Like
who gave it a 9 and who gave it a 10? Do you remember?
I think I gave it the lower one. I think you gave it a 10.
Okay.
I don't like. I understand. Like data-wise, textually, it is more, but vibes-wise, I don't know whether it was just like my headspace while I was reading, or the fact that like it's been a while, like I finished the book a while ago and then I just like 3 times speeded it to like get a refresher before we recorded these episodes. There were quite a number of cat references, like explicit. Magic is like explicitly a cat many, many times.
Yeah.
I just feel like giving it a 10 seems like an overreach to me.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Rhys is also, I think because he's nicer, he's not as much of a baddie. I just feel like he was more cat-like when he was a baddie.
Maybe. I kind of see what you're meaning.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very conflicted with the cat scale. Are you thinking like 10 out of 10?
I probably would have said 9, but I feel like it's more than ACOTAR. I get what you're saying about like Rhys being less, but I feel like he's still more than like most of the characters.
I just feel like maybe we gave ACOTAR too high a score.
Yeah, but that doesn't feel fair. I feel like we need to stay consistent within the series. Like, I get that it's supposed to be like an overall, like it's not supposed to be just like series, but like, I don't know. I think this still, even if it's less than ACOTAR, even if it is less than ACOTAR and ACOTAR was incorrectly too high, like, I feel like this should still get, if it's higher than like other books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I was thinking like an 8. That was the vibes that I got.
I would probably say 9, I guess, but yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1, 9.5.
There was no point. We literally just like, I would probably say 8. I would probably say 9.
I said 9.5. Yeah, you're right.
Oh my God, that's gonna make it so annoying. What's the average?
No, it's okay. It can be 9, and I'm not gonna make you do that. We can't start doing that. It was
divided by 2, 8.75.
Yeah.
I've already made the cat scale thing for it. Let me plug it in.
Oh my God.
I used that same like Swiss Alps town.
Of course.
That everybody uses.
Absolutely beautiful.
For the background.
For like at night. Yeah. Very nice. All right. Allison, where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at We Read It One Night. Twitter, which did you know is being apparently rebranded as X? Elon Musk.
I did just see that insane, earlier today.
Who knows so you can find us on X at We Read It Podcast. You can go to our Etsy shop, Evelyn Adelaide, and get some sweet gear. And then you can also buy us a coffee at the link in the description of this episode, which helps support the podcast and helps support like the like fees and stuff, and will hopefully help us get like better equipment and all of that stuff. And then you can leave us a rating and review right now where you're listening, even though I know most of you stop listening by the time we get to the end roll.
Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.